All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. I was lost, disappeared for a little bit there. I'll explain why, but welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. On this podcast, we're going to be getting an update into kind of what's been keeping me away from posting and just some of the fun stuff going on in my life. Usually I'm posting from I use this platform to talk a little more openly about, gender-related topics that come up in life, especially in my life, and, sexuality-related topics that come up in my own personal life. And I wasn't, usually I'm not posting a lot about other stuff. So in all honesty, sometimes I don't really have a lot to post about, and lately I just haven't. So I did lose some of the recordings. That's not the reason why I haven't been posting. But today, when I was recording back for the first time in a while, I accidentally trimmed something and lost half of the other thing that I had trimmed. And so, it was the Super Time pilot, kind of what I was recording about that. And, I lost part of it, and then now I have to kind of re-record, so I'm off to a little bit of a rough start today. But I did realize, maybe it's best that whole chunk was lost, and because I was able to just re-record it and separating that into a couple different episodes instead of making it one long 1 hour and 20-minute episode. So yeah, there's that. So I think this is going to be better, but y'all know I ramble. So anyways, check out some of the new recordings. I'm going to be posting them. I noticed that, sometimes I post stuff that's just not too great of content, and I'm trying to stay away from just hitting record and just recording stuff for no good reason. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm just having fun and I'm just recording. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, It's my podcast. If I want to drive to and from San Diego recording in my car with bad audio and traffic noise in the background and, just rambling about nothing for like an hour or 2 hours or whatever. If people want to listen to that, it's their own choice if they want to listen to it. Sometimes I'm like, well, I'm doing more recording and posting this. Maybe it's entertaining to people more than if I just sit and like listen to music or a book or something while I drive. It's like, why not just record something sometimes? But I don't want all my recordings to just be like hit record and just ramble on for like 2 hours, and then like sometimes I want it to be more focused. And so I'm kind of brainstorming a bit lately about what I want to post on here. It's slowing down my process, but mainly what's been slowing down my process, in all honesty, is that I've been, not in a negative way, I don't want it to sound negative, because I'm not trying to come off that way. I'm trying to see the good in some of it. So originally I would label in my own mind for, myself kind of isolating myself somewhat to be more of a negative thing. Like, oh, like I'm not going out with my queer friends as much. I'm not, going out a lot, but I am saving a lot of money. I am saving a lot on gas and transportation fees and hotels and a lot of energy and time that I'm getting back, and the money I'm saving is going into other things. So I just did book a hotel to go on my first of the season snowboard trip, my most local resort that I get a season pass for sometimes, that I got one for this season. It will open November 10th, and I'm going at the end of Veterans Weekend. I'm going to go up that Sunday and Monday, stay overnight, because I don't work Mondays anymore, because I think I mentioned, but I decreased my work schedule from 40 hours a week to a 32-hour work week because I've been burning out, and because I need more time to study and work out and work on my health, and I can afford to work one less day, especially if I'm not partying every weekend, or 3 times a week. I can afford to not work for 8 hours. And so with all that, I've been studying more. I've been trying to focus on my workouts and studying, reviewing and stuff while I'm at the gym sometimes. And I don't think it really sinks in, but it's sometimes it's just it's more of the feeling of what it does when I'm at the gym, going through learning materials, course materials, than it is actually getting something out of it. Of course, if I'm just sitting at my desk studying, that's easier, but at the same time, sometimes I can sit at the desk and just be zoned out and not focused and not actually be getting it done. And so it's not always the best way for me. Sometimes I just need to change of scenery, a change of energy, and you can listen to lectures and stuff while you're on a bike at the gym. It's not that hard to do, and especially if it's reviewing or just a first time exposure to a new topic, and then just gonna listen to it again later anyways. I'm just listening to stuff. I'm not reading or writing papers or anything like that. So that would be completely different. So that's kind of some of what I've been doing. And it's kind of working through some ideas on some stuff too, doing a lot of writing. It takes a lot for me to kind of formulate ideas on things and reflections on things. I am doing a lot of reflecting lately on early family dynamic relationships and early socialization, trying to see how that is relevant to my life today in a lot of different areas, as far as anything from financial education to ideas about education in general, to how I handle my mental health and boundaries, and even when it becomes relevant to the gender related topics and everything. I do take a lot of time out of my evenings to write and read and stuff like that, and so there's only so many hours of the day where it's when I kind of disappear, sometimes it's for a reason, but also I've been taking some of my party energy and focusing it onto some building type of stuff. I go back and forth. Sometimes I do this. I stop partying for a little bit and I focus on this other stuff, and I get really zoned in on it, and then come up with a whole bunch of ideas and ways of thinking about the world, and it helps me kind of live in the world in a different way, and I feel like I gain a lot out of it. But sometimes I do have to take a step away from creating content and posting stuff, and But there's a lot of creativity in the works, a lot of working on myself, a lot of expanding my own understanding of my own self, um, you know, trying to work with the mind that I have. And I know I'm being like pretty vague, but that's mostly what I've been doing. Gone to some concerts, saw some friends who came through LA that they've gone to concerts and stuff, but I was able to kind of meet up with them and catch up with some of those San Diego friends, which was awesome. And I have some more plans that are going to be coming up, but I have not yet been like I don't know. I haven't been like not doing well. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not doing well just because there's a lot changing in my life and a lot changing maybe in my mind and just a lot of things. Like I notice my body image changing sometimes with some stuff, and it's just a lot of stuff changing that is like, I feel like lately I just blink and look, it's already November, you know what I mean? It's like we're already less than 2 full months away from the end of the year. And I got goals, guys. I got goals I'm reaching. And so, I do have to take my steps back and work through things, just refocus, kind of see what's been going on. And I try to take my time with those processes. So when I go missing, it's mostly just because I've switched stuff up a little bit. I've mentioned before, if I do decide to stop posting, I will post a farewell. That's not my intention anytime soon. But I'm not gonna ghost. I'll try to at least give that courtesy. Unless this whole thing gets like deleted or something, that's the only thing I could think of. If it gets hacked or deleted, then of course I'm gonna have to not be able to do it, and that would suck. But I mean, I think I actually might have almost everything backed up. I might need to look into that, honestly, but I do most of my recordings on my iPhone, and so I should have the majority of stuff recorded. So and saved somewhere, the majority of it, other than the content that I lost this afternoon. But that wasn't that much. It was like, I don't know, like 30-40 minutes. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. I am trying to, look at things from multiple angles, and so I can't say that I was missing because things were going bad. I was posting other content elsewhere, but it was because most of it was related to stuff that was going on with the stuff I was studying, and because it doesn't specifically relate to like the queer content that I'm posting on here, I just didn't post it on here. Like I've been looking at some, I'll just explain it. So I've been looking at some routines, like Einstein's routine, and there's this guy who I follow on YouTube. If you know Lex Friedman, he has a lot of interviews with people. He recently interviewed Kanye West, Ye. He recently interviewed him, and that went viral, and I had a lot to say about that, so I posted some content about that kind of thing. I've been I was studying a little bit of tech stuff about like chat bots and some other stuff about like research, like market research, some other stuff, yeah, like about Liver King's routines. I mean, I don't feel like any of that stuff I could really post on here and not have it be just like completely just like, where did this come from? Like it's way off of niche. But the reason why I've been studying a lot of these types of topics about routines and about these different finance topics and stuff like that, I mean, it's because it's stuff I like anyways, so I'm going to study it anyways. And then, when I'm in periods of my life like I am right now, just the last few weeks, I've been doing a lot of reflective work, and I've definitely been, trying to, improve my routines. I always like to, on occasion, take a step back and be like, okay, what could I do better? What could I do better? I started this process probably I'm always starting it, tweaking it, restarting it, falling off of a plan that I'm on, and then getting back onto some other version of it once I create a new one. I mean, that's just how I roll in life. That's kind of how it goes. But I would say from last snowboard season, I started realizing how out of shape I was. And then once snowboard season ended in like April, I was home a lot more. And then I started realizing how much I didn't want to live there anymore. And when the last straw happened in May, when I kind of unofficially moved out but still had my stuff in that house and was trying to see if I could work stuff out with those housemates, I kind of unofficially moved in May, and then in June I officially moved to LA from San Diego, which was supposed to be a temporary summer thing. In my head I was saying and telling everybody, oh yeah, it's temporary for summer, but I didn't really have like a full game plan of how I was going to move back. So in the time I've been in LA, I've had some job offers that were a little bit higher pay, but I was like, to live comfortably, I need to be making this certain amount of money. So there was some back and forth with like that. And this was at the same time when I had already started taking the class that I'm in now that, I need to test for the certificate eventually once I finish the class, and then apply for new work and be able to afford to comfortably move. I don't want to move with roommates. I could move right now if I wanted roommates, or if I wanted, to drive myself up the wall again, and I cannot do that. I think there was some trauma developed from that experience, and this isn't the first time I've had roommate trauma, and I it took me most of the summer to kind of get through that, as well as going from July to like the end of July to like the start of August, having COVID, and then my birthday was mid-August, and then all these kind of social aspects were coming up in LA for me around August or so. And then September I started back in the gym with snowboard training and stuff, and started looking at my life from different angles with some other stuff, and been kind of in and out of therapy as needed, and that's basically how I'm doing things. I'm just mostly doing that kind of stuff, and yeah, it's not it's not Like, it's not like a bad thing, it's just a lot going on. And I'm happy with the progress, but there's only so many hours in the day, so I try to take it easy on myself and not overdo it, over push. Like, I'm definitely pushing, but I don't want to overdo it to a point where I'm burning out on all ends, because I'm already kind of burning out at work. Basically, my issue with this job, I don't want to go too much into it. I mean, my management's good, everything on that end is like fine, but my issue with this job, if I have to break it down, why I'm kind of doing this transition, staying with the family, and and not utilizing roommates in San Diego where I actually want to be, and I kind of need a distance to be able to focus. Otherwise, if I stay in San Diego, I'm just going to party, and I'm not going to focus, and I'm not going to study, and I'm going to keep the same kind of crappy job. The reason why I say it's not a good job for me anymore is because I notice, what I want to do with my life. I've kind of solidified some more goals that are related to financial goals. And I'm realizing that with the pay rate I have now, and considering that there's only 2 other positions higher than mine that I could promote to, that still wouldn't be making the minimum pay rate of what I need to make to be able to reach those financial goals. If I stay in this job, I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. And the stress levels, with all the emotional stress of, working with, mental health and stuff like that, when I've already got my own stuff going on, it's just a lot that I've developed so much gray hair over that I don't even want to, it's aging me, it's draining me. It served its purpose. I feel like I got a lot out of it, and it's time to move on. That's pretty much how I feel. December 20th is going to be my 7th year working for this company. And, they don't even pay well enough where you could, like, buy a house or anything like that. So I feel like I did what I needed to do to learn a lot, to figure out where I want to be and what I like about this job. But because I don't plan to get licensed, and I never planned to get licensed because I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to fully want to 100% be in this field. I didn't want to get licensed because I didn't want to make a full career path out of it. And once I start doing the other career, I will talk about it more. But because I'm not doing it, I don't want to talk about it. All I'm going to mention is that I'm studying. I'm 50% through with my studying at the moment. I don't know exactly, but I plan by Tuesday to be 65 to 75% done. And at least 75% done by the time I go snowboarding. Maybe 75 to 80% done by the time I go snowboarding on November, 13 and 14. And so that's kind of my timeline for myself. It's slow for me because there's a lot of fear involved with the change. I get very deer in the headlights, kind of like, especially when it's self-paced stuff, and it's stuff where I'm like, I can visualize myself doing well at this. I can visualize myself, but with the current energy that I hold on a daily basis these days, I can't be having a new job where I have to sleep, so like where I can't sleep properly and feel rested in the morning. I can't be having a new job where I'm having issues thinking and focusing and having brain fog in the morning. I can't be having too high demands of stress right now because I'm still kind of working through some other stuff that, is really impacting my mental state. And so I don't want to just jump right into something, even though I want to, because it would part of me wants to, because it would help a lot, because it would mean that, I think if I could see myself getting closer and closer and closer to, being able to move where I want to move and start looking for apartments and stuff. And I did get an offer on an apartment at the end of October, but I decided against moving to it because it's not where I want to live. But just stuff like that, getting the job offers, the apartment offers, it's like a lot of the work I've been putting in on the back end, is really paying off. Like, even with my pay rate as it is, and with transitioning out of this current work field and everything, I'm definitely able to like I'm able to kind of see more and more what I want. But it is taking a lot of visualization, a lot of meditation, a lot of just trying to tweak things here and there. And that's why I've been studying routines, is because, like, I like to have ideas. I noticed some of the stuff that I have incorporated or started to do in my routines, or things that others do, like, like 2 eggs and an avocado for breakfast, or that kind of stuff. Trying to definitely, I've been having these routines related to the sunrise and sunset. I guess daylight savings is coming, so that might change a little bit, but the sun rises around 7:12 a.m. where I live, and it's now setting like a little bit before 6 p.m. And I mean, like, it's still bright out and everything, but it's like the official sunset and sunrise times are around approximately those times. And so those are like reflective times of day for me, and it kind of helps me gauge my energy and focus. Like, I kind of check in with myself. I'm like, okay, how am I feeling? How am I doing? So I can kind of notice day to day how I'm feeling. And there's some other stuff that I'm just trying to work out. So, it's a process, but I'm doing it, and it's not going poorly. It's just, I am really trying not to, run myself ragged. That was something I talked about with a close friend of mine, of like, paying closer attention to ourselves. He's starting to do that now. And I, need to start doing that too. Like, I start thinking about, because I'm still in my 30s, but, I have friends who are a little older, in their 40s, and I have quite a few friends in their 40s who have had, like, heart attacks, heart issues, heart injuries, like, heart problems, and they're in their 40s, and I'm like, I could see myself going down that path, I don't think I have hypertension, but I have seen myself, just with this, just kind of easy irritability, where it's like, I'm actually finding myself, at least in those times when I've had those experiences, I've been finding myself just glad that I work from home and glad that I don't have to be dealing with people, because at least I can stay in, and I'm not driving on the freeway with road rage. I'm not being rude in a store to, like, the clerks or anything. I'm not being mean to family or friends or anything. I'm just kind of keeping to myself. But that was some experience that I don't think I had before, for such a consecutive amount of time, a consecutive amount of days, where I was just feeling just like some kind of anger, and just a lot of stuff that's just like surfacing in this weird way that's like, this is new, like, I think when I first started recording this podcast, it was mostly me like venting about my roommates and just bitching and moaning about that for like a year or something. I don't know. But you know, that was kind of my decision making method at that point, was like I needed to hear myself say these things out loud enough times in a way that it wasn't going to affect anybody, but like putting some kind of creative spin on it in a way that I could actually actively address it almost every day, even though, I mean, I'm not going to say that I apologize for posting that kind of stuff, because it was like legit real my life at that point, but it was also kind of like, I know that other people have those experiences. I know that not everybody, is the same age as me. I mean, I'm older than a lot of people now, like, which is kind of funny to me and weird, but, I'm not like 17 years old anymore. I'm not like 19 years old anymore. So it's kind of like, at the age I'm at now, I do have more options, which is something that is nice. Like, if I want to pick up and move across the country and, like, I've got friends in North Carolina, South Carolina, that I know from San Diego that we're really close, and I think I could come visit them. But I've got those friends, and I feel like I feel like they like I have those friends, and I'm not trying to move over there, but it's like there were people that, I would move there for the people, like, if and maybe the snowboarding, but like I would move there. I don't know if North or South Carolina has like a good reputation for snowboarding or what, but it's like, I mean, they have weather. We don't have any weather, really. Like, we have summer, and then I have to look for my sweater, and that's basically our weather. Like, it rains, we complain. It's cloudy for a day, we complain. Every time the weather drops below, like, the 60s, we're just like, what is this? Like, once it's below 70s and then starts dropping into the 50s and 40s, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck is going on? But yeah, I do have this like a lot of routines, rituals I'm creating for myself, as one of my supervisors previously would tell us in our sessions that we would have, or group sessions we would have once a Friday morning, once a week on Friday mornings. We really learned a lot, and I think managing stress is managing life. Sometimes the stress is necessary, but it's not always bad. There can be abusive people around. That's not a good situation. You could have a work setting that's just toxic. That's not a good situation. A household that's just toxic. That's not a good situation. Like, but they're all also learning experiences where, there can be growth. There can be trauma. There can be setbacks. There can also be growth. There can be progress. Because of those things. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, if I didn't have such crappy roommates, I would have never moved. I probably never would have been trying to switch jobs. I never would have had the ability to get myself to a new pay rate, because I would have been just comfortable partying with my friends, because all I really want to do is, I like working, but I like having money so I can do the stuff that I want to do, which is hang out with my friends and do the sports I like, and go to concerts that I want to see, and be able to not be limited for creative projects, whether that's, podcasting, and, if I want to, I don't know, like pay for some ads, marketing, or anything like that, or, if I have, if I have, like, kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, if I have kind of a places where I want to put my funds, like, it's not all fun, like fun and games, I save for my retirement and stuff like that too, but it's like, and invest and everything too, but it's like, I like to have fun money too, and some of it goes towards projects, because I like my hobbies and projects. I'm not just always partying, and sometimes I just like to do a lot of creative stuff, and so, if it's instruments or, electronic, instrument software, or being able to go up to the mountains or take little trips when I take days off, or get concert or festival tickets for a day or 2 days, go out of town, go see musicians I like, hanging out with close friends and catching up and going out for dinners and going out on little trips with them and doing all kinds of stuff. Like, it takes money, and, I don't want to be limited by, a job that's overly stressful that, isn't, after working somewhere for, it's like I said, is going to be December 20th is going to be my year 7, and that means I've worked for this company, if you count the unpaid, almost 2 unpaid years, so almost 9 years working for this company, where they're not even going to meet me. I mean, I'm not feeling entitled like they need to. Like, I kind of knew, but I have seen them kind of work with some people to get a much higher pay rate. It kind of depends on the timing and what they need and what you need. So I was kind of hoping, maybe because they reached out to me, that I might have some wiggle room with them to be able to get what I want. And so I reached out about it, and they came back with a lower pay rate, and I was just like, I can't swing it, because there were 2 job offers. One of the offers had a $4 an hour higher pay rate, which was $4 lower an hour than my minimum request, but it still would have been like $10 more than what I'm getting paid now an hour, but the job would have been way more stressful, and I would have to move, and I would have to pay much higher rent, and I would have to have expenses that are not necessary, and probably live in an area that I don't want to live in. I would be getting some of what I want, which would be living back in San Diego, but I wouldn't be living where I wanted to in San Diego because of the pay rate. I wouldn't be working where I want to work. I wouldn't be doing the job that I'm really interested in doing. And because that job is case management, it requires driving. And, with my car being as old as it is, like, there is a company car, but it's not guaranteed 100% of the time. And I don't want to drive clients in my car, and I don't want to use my car for work like that, and it wouldn't be remote work, and it would be stressful, and it would only be temporary anyways, because I told them if I did start, it would only be for 90 days, because I would plan to be out of that job by 90 days anyways, because I'd be done with this class by then, and so I would have to transition and then switch to another job, all while trying to juggle, like, a new living environment and all this other stuff, where I was like, it just doesn't sound like a good idea. Yeah, it's $10 more an hour, but it's still $4 less than what I want to make. And it's still the same stressors that I left that job for that reason to come to this current job that I'm in, because it was too stressful of an environment to be staying in long term like that. So I was there like 5 years, and I don't know if I could go back again. Even though it does pay better, I don't know if I could go back again. So I'm like, well, let me just focus on what I'm actually doing, because they're not even going to meet my pay. And I've been with this company for, if you count the unpaid years in addition, like 9 years. So if they're not even going to give me my minimum request, then I don't see a reason to stay, or try to go there. And it was a hard decision to make, because the boss is cool, and I would have been working with some friends too, and I like the site. I like the clients I worked with before. There's a lot of them I would have been able to work with again. I would have been able to do the groups again that I loved so much, which was one of my favorite parts of that whole job. But, all the other stuff that I'm not getting, wouldn't be worth it for me. And it's such a hard environment to be in that it was even hard to, manage my health too good. That was really when I started, partying too much, was working at that job. So, because I was so, stressed and not really able to manage it. So, when I look at the big picture like that, I'm like, yeah, it's cool that the offer was there, but, it's not exactly what I want. And, I've got some options now, and once I finish the class, I'll have way more options. And so I just, that's pretty much my whole recent journey of what's been going on and what's been kind of coming up. For anybody interested, that's what I've been doing. I did kind of try some online dating recently, and then realized, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do any online dating. There are a couple people that if I wanted to date, they would be the ones that I should probably be approaching, and not, trying to build some brand new thing and then jump cities anyways. And so that's kind of how I feel. It's just kind of there's a lot of good, there's a lot of good. It's just challenges that come up that take slow-paced decisions, and I'm really trying to really just, focus that energy. So we have come into our our official sunset time of today, and it looks like tomorrow's sunrise 6:17 a.m., sunset 4:56 p.m. I believe it's daylight saving Sunday, right? So I don't know, dude. It's cold. Got my window open. I'm sitting here. Maybe TMI, but I'm not even wearing a shirt. I don't care. My body, my room, my rules, right? But I think there's somebody outside that had an accident. They're yelling at each other. But yeah, guys. So this was my Friday. Did I say Friday? It's Saturday. So this was my Saturday evening suntime reflection. Thanks for sharing this time with me during my update. And hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy the new recordings that are going to come out. I got to eat some dinner and start posting a little bit. But get with that. Thanks for listening.